Plaintiff Sherry Reynolds says the defendant is her niece, and when she was a rebellious teenager and a ward of the state, Sherry took her in to give her a fresh start. Sherry claims she loaned the defendant money for a car, but she has only made sporadic payments, so Sherry's suing. Defendant Misty Lucas was a misguided youth who was taken away from her mother when she was 6 years old. Misty claims 3 days after Sherry took her in, she kicked her out, and Misty's countersuing because Sherry sent her a harassing email.
All rise. This court is now in session. The Honorable Judge Greg Mathis presiding. You may now be seated.
Start with you.
I'm here all the way from Anchorage, Alaska, home of Sarah Palin.
All right.
Because I knew that in order to get justice, I would have to
You
come
had
to
to
the
leave.
hometown.
You said it, not me.
I knew that in order to get justice, I would have to come to the hometown of President Obama and have my case heard before you, Judge.
All right. You came from Anchorage. Beautiful town. I've been there. And the moose, they sit in the front of your homes, don't they?
Yes, they
and you
sure
have
do.
to wait until they leave to go
Get
home.
in your car.
Am I
Yep.
right?
Yes, you are.
They're on the street more than the cars. The cars are on the grass or on the curb, and the moose are on the street. They run the town.
That's good. Are we on up there? Are you on up there? I should say.
Yes.
We is we.
Oh, I didn't mean to say that.
You get more action than I do. So we are on there. That's how she knew. You're from Anchorage also, I assume.
No, I'm not from Anchorage.
Where are you from?
I'm in Florida right now.
The transaction for which you're being sued, did it occur in Anchorage?
It occurred in Anchorage.
Okay.
Actually, Your Honor, it occurred in New York.
All right. The background on the two of you all's friendship. Tell me about it.
Yes, my niece, her mother, my sister, and her are my only immediate family, and I love them both with all my heart. I would do anything to help them out. I've helped them out many times over the years. When Misty was a teenager, she was quite rebellious and was placed in state care. I decided to bring her up to Alaska so she could have a fresh start.
Good.
After only a month or two, she had gotten a job as a nanny, but unfortunately, I was very disappointed when she was fired because she was accused of stealing the woman's wedding ring.
That's a blatant lie.
Okay. Were you dismissed, terminated?
I was terminated, but that was not it was a mutual understanding that was not the case.
Okay. Go
So
ahead.
then I made arrangements to send her down to Tampa, Florida, where my sister was living at the time.
Beautiful place.
And we had minimal contact once or twice a year over the next several years. And I found her again last August on Facebook. And I found out that she had since left Tampa and had moved to New York to be with her children and her children's father. So I also learned that my sister was very ill, living in Florida and unable to get medical care because of the terrible health care laws down there. She was denied Medicaid many times. So Misty and I and my sister all decided that it might be best to move my sister up to New York so she could live with Misty and get some better medical care.
Let me allow her to give some background, ma'am.
I was a misguided youth. I was in the juvenile system, but I was in a child in need of assistance. From the age on 6, they took me away from my mom. I lived with different family members.
Abuse or neglect?
Yeah. I lived in group homes pretty much until the age of 18. When I got out of the group home, I don't even remember how we got in contact. She invited me to Alaska to come live with her. 3 days after I got there, she kicked me out in the street. So I became homeless.
Let me ask you this.
That's not true.
What did the group home or the state system have awaiting you at the time of your discharge or at the time
Absolutely
they had
nothing.
not prepared you for anything, right?
Nothing.
And that's a major tragedy that is happening all over the country. They let children out when they turn 18, knowing that these children don't have a support system.
Nice knowing
Well, I was raised by the
nice
system.
knowing you.
I was raised by the
They
system.
don't have
and
any
they
place
taught
to
me
go, and then
wrong.
they wonder why they get involved in criminal activity. Go ahead.
When I turned 18, she invited me to Alaska. It was like 3-4 days after I'd been up there. She kicked me out.
Why?
I believe it was because I'd met this person and brought him into her house, and she kicked me out. He took off his glasses and left him there. She found the glasses. She blew up. All my stuff was laying out in piles of snow.
Did you stay in Alaska?
I wound up staying there for several months because I became homeless.
Where'd you end up going?
I started working in the canneries, so I had a place to live in the bunkhouse, and then I became the living nanny. That situation there.
3 days?
No, I didn't.
What happened?
I was encouraging her to get a job. I told her, you're more than happy to stay here, but you have to have a job. And there was rules in my house. I didn't want her to bring any gentleman into my house when I wasn't home and I didn't know about it.
And you told her that.
And I told her that, but still, she's young and she brought an older gentleman into my home when I wasn't there. And I wasn't happy about it.
In her opinion, you evicted her in 3 days. Did anything happen 3 days after she arrived?
Not the way I remember it, Your
Okay.
Honor.
How long after arriving did she leave your residence?
Oh, it was probably 3 weeks
Okay. And that was to do what again?
to be the nanny at some
Okay.
members of the church.
That's
Good enough.
incorrect.
And you all never really reconciled after that?
I think I seen her a handful of times. She didn't like my choice in men.
Okay.
They
still around?
No.
I still have an affinity for black men, if that's what you mean, but, you know, just to be honest, if we're being honest here.
I don't know what race has to do with it.
Well, it had a lot to do with it at the
Unless you're saying
time.
she was prejudiced against black men,
I
and
think she was
that's what
prejudiced against
caused
my relationship with them.
with black men, right?
Not at all, Your Honor.
Oh.
He did nothing to
Okay.
She
support
told
his
everybody
children.
I'd found the only black man in Alaska.
Let's get to this loan you're suing
Oh,
her
Lordy.
about. How does she
Okay.
owe you for a loan?
In August of '09, I found her on Facebook, and she had moved to New York. The father of her children had taken her children away and moved to New York without her.
Does he keep the children?
He had the children briefly, and then she went up there and got them back.
Oh, okay. And the loan?
The loan, I found out that my sister was very ill, and Misty and I and my sister decided to move her up to New York, one, so she could live with Misty, get to know her grandchildren, and two, so she could get some health care. Unfortunately, she was diagnosed with several forms of terminal cancer, and it's because of her other health problems. She was hating New York. She was hating the cold. And Misty didn't have a car. And so my sister couldn't take the bus to go to the doctor. So I said, okay, I will loan you the money to buy your first car.
How much?
$2,200.
What was the agreement on repayment?
The agreement was $50 a month.
How many has she failed to pay? Well, how many has she paid?
She made the first payment of $50, and then 4 months later, she made a $25 payment, and then just a few weeks ago, I received a $30 payment.
All right, ma'am.
Well, at this point in time, I'm a single mother with 3 children. I'm pregnant now with my 4th, and I'm being forced to give
Congratulations. You're being forced to give the
it
child.
up for adoption because I can't financially afford it.
Give us some tissue, please. And the father can't afford it.
He doesn't help me.
Did he help the other 3? So why would you have
Neither-
a fourth?
neither
Why would you
parent.
have a 4th?
It
By
was
him.
not intentional.
Okay,
Well, it was
meaning the condom was faulty.
faulty in the meaning that he was poking him with needles.
Right, that's what I mean. Okay.
And he did it to try to
Intentionally?
keep me
Okay. To
with
try and
him, which
keep you.
didn't work. So
Okay. Sorry to hear that. You did borrow the money, however?
I did borrow the money.
Okay, what's your defense against repaying it?
I don't really have a defense against repaying it, although this loan was supposed to start being paid back 6 months ago.
So you've breached it, haven't you?
Yes, I have breached
Once
it.
you breach an agreement, ma'am, then they can accelerate the repayment and sue you for the money immediately. Or what is called call in the loan. Whenever, like a car dealer, you miss 1 month, 2 months, they can come and repossess the car.
But
Even
that's
though
the
you say, well, I'm only 1 month behind. They say, well, the agreement was did you pay every month and you missed this. Pardon?
I understand that, but that's why I didn't go to a car dealer and went to family.
All right, 1,000 is your counterclaim for harassment. How so?
She called me 10 times a day, cussing me out. Like I said, we were going through some rough times.
When? During what time period?
Probably from May on.
Okay, you have to be more specific.
May.
From May every day.
Several times a week.
Several
she'd call
times a
me.
week. She'd call you how many times? Each
I
time?
wouldn't answer all of them.
What-
I explained to her that I'm trying to get you the money.
She
I'm
cursed
working
you
to
out
do
the
it.
first time that you
Not
answered?
the first time, but as time went on and I wasn't able to pay her $50 a month, she became a lot more
How many
aggressive.
times? How many times did she curse you out?
Maybe 4 or 5.
4 times, and how many months?
About 6 months.
All right, that just sounds like an angry bill collector.
I also have an email she sent me.
Saying what?
Well, I don't want to use all the terminology she used.
Let me read it. Just because she has a foul mouth, you can't sue her for $1,000. Doyle cussed like a sailor back there every now and then. I can't sue him. I
But
can't even
screaming
fire.
at me that I need to give her my baby's diaper money while we're living in a car with 3 kids.
If it wasn't for me, you'd still be in New York. Think about that. I expect to hear from you. Avoiding me isn't the answer, and you've admitted to avoiding her. That's why she had to email you, and she was upset. Judgment for the plaintiff. She has no legal defense to failing to repay you. Your claim of harassment is dismissed. Yeah, she talked a little angry to you on 4 occasions over the 6-month period, and that is not deserving of a harassment claim. Judgment for the plaintiff. Your claim is dismissed.
Thank you, Your Honor. I love her with all my heart. She's the closest thing I'll ever have to a daughter. I love her.
Yeah, she's family. I think family should come before money, but yeah, it's just me.
I love you.